It is the last day of 2017, and President Trump has taken to Twitter from the winter White House to look ahead to 2018. Here's what he wrote this morning. Why would smart voters want to put Democrats in Congress in 2018 election when their policies will totally kill the great wealth created during the months since the election? People are much better off now, not to mention ISIS, VA, judges, strong border, Second Amendment, tax cuts, and more. That's not all he's been tweeting about. He's been tweeting about tweeting. We'll get to that in a moment as well. Joining us now to talk about it, talk radio host Wade Smith. Wade, always good to see you. Let's break this down. 2017 ends. You're from Alabama, a state that the president carried by double digits. Are people there feeling wealthier? Or the lists of achievements the president put in that tweet resonating?
Quite a few people are liking what the president has done so far. I will say when it comes to his tweets, some are, some aren't. It really depends on which side of the line you fall on. If you look back at the special election that we had with the Roy Moore situation, that kind of defined the lines. The age line and the party line is a little different right now. The younger the voter, the less likely they are to like the tweets. The older the voter, the more likely they are to like the tweets. And the farther they find themselves right, the more they land on the line of agreeing with what President Trump says on his Twitter feed.
It's kind of fascinating. You would think it would be the opposite. You would think it would be the younger generation that likes the social media aspect of it, because it is the younger generation we hear that's how they communicate. And the older generation would say, oh, no, I don't like my president doing that. Have you been able to figure that out?
I think the one thing about it is the younger voters and the younger folks that are looking at Twitter know the power of social media. It's no longer the future. It's the present. It's what we deal with on a daily basis. I know I use it. I know you use it. We use it in our businesses every day. But for President Trump, it's a very powerful tool and can be a very powerful weapon if he's not careful, because if you're legislating or you're doing any kind of foreign policy dictation from a Twitter feed, it can be really dangerous when you're limited to a character amount to be able to talk about what you should be doing.
Well, the power of it, at least, is not lost on the president. This is what he said about his tweeting on Twitter yesterday. I use social media not because I like to, but because it is the only way to fight very dishonest and unfair press, now often referred to as fake news media. Phony and non-existent sources are being used more often than ever. Many stories and reports a pure fiction. Fair argument?
I think it's a very fair argument because you get it straight from the president's mouth on the Twitter feed, and that might be the issue with some of the younger folks. These tweets they're not run by people in his administration. They come straight from him, straight from his phone, straight from his computer. However he's tweeting that day, it comes straight from him. Now, that can be good.
To turn around your argument earlier, though, about foreign policy, that maybe perhaps, it is not as nuanced when it comes through Twitter. It's not perhaps as thought out as if it's a statement that has been put through 19 different layers of bureaucracy at the NSC and the State Department. But the president can say a lot. I mean, when he says about the Iran protests, they will not take it any longer. The USA is watching very closely for human rights violations. Sometimes that blunt talk, perhaps, with these regimes, maybe they'd listen to it.
They might, and you're right about that. The one thing is that he has hit it on the head a couple of times. Now, there's been times when he's been far off the mark on these tweets as well, and I think that's what scares people more than anything. Not the ones that he gets right, but the ones that he gets wrong.
How much rope, if you will, or leeway are that middle block of people that you said they may like the president, they may have voted for him, they're not sure about the tweets? How much leeway are they willing to give him for things to get right versus what, as you said, he's gotten wrong?
I think that rope is getting shorter and shorter, and it's not because of what he's actually tweeting. I think it's the number of tweets that he's sending out.
Is that you thinking that, or are your listeners, when they're calling in, giving him less and less rope?
It's both. It's my opinion, and it's the opinion that I've received, like we said, from those of the younger generation. Those are the ones that I've really heard the most complaints from. But it's the ones that did vote for Trump, that did vote for Roy Moore, that voted for candidates like that are the ones that are saying, oh, yeah, we support him completely. We'll take what he's tweeting out there because we like the fact that he's using social media for his own good and for his own agenda, because that's what we need in a Republican president.
Well, a fascinating perspective, Wade, especially about the flip in the age gap here, or the age line. Great talking to you. We'll talk to you in 2018, and good luck for the Crimson Tide this weekend.